Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at these two action figures right here. These are the new kind of reissued Deadpool and Wolverine, movie Deadpool and Wolverine. That, of course, we got because the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie is coming out here pretty soon. So I just want to go over these real quick and see, are these worth picking up, especially if you already have the previous figures? Do you really need to go out and pick these up as well? Let's go ahead and find out. So accessories wise, Wolverine does come with a couple of unclawed fisted hands. And he does come with a rather generic head sculpt here. Looks pretty nice. I think they did a really good job here, but it's just kind of a calm-faced Logan. Deadpool does come with a few more accessories here. He does come with some open hands, but notice they are not painted. And he does come with some unpainted fisted hands as well. And then he does come with some painted sword holding hands. And then of course he does come with his lucky unicorn. Then of course, in addition to that, he does come with the weapons that you see on him. So he does come with a couple of deagles there that he's able to hold and actually holster. He does come with a boot knife there. Then, of course, he does also come with the swords that you can put in the sheaths there on his back. Now, as far as articulation goes on both of these figures, nothing has changed from the previous iterations of these figures. These are essentially just re-releases of the last time we got these two figures. There are some differences, and that's kind of what I want to point out here to see if those differences are enough to where you think you need to go ahead and either pick these guys up again, or if you never picked them up in the first place, are these the ones you actually want to get? Now, for Wolverine here, the main differences here are lack of accessories and lack of paint. In the original figure that came out, he had a better paint job done on him, specifically on the jeans. He had a much better wash, and the paint looked much better on the pants. And then of course he also came with more extra sets of hands, including hands that came with his bone claws. And of course this time he does not. Now that being said, I will say that the head sculpt on this guy, specifically the screaming head sculpt, looks way better than the head sculpts that we got the first time around, which he did come with a couple of head sculpts that first time around. And this time I think both head sculpts are done much better. The printing technology and paint and sculpt and everything on these two newer head sculpts are definitely much better than they were the first time. And I think that's kind of the main reason to upgrade, is if you want those better head sculpts. Other than that, honestly, the previous figure was a better figure. All right, so now let's talk about Deadpool here. And for Deadpool, I think, in my opinion, this is the one that gives you a little bit more than the previous figure did, as far as like making it actually worth picking this guy up if you already have the previous figure. And the main reason for that is, A, the colors look much better here. He's in a much brighter red than he had previously been in, which I like for Deadpool. I want to see him in that brighter red. And two, you can actually get the guns in and out of his holsters. If you remember that previous figure, the deagles that he had were just molded into the holsters, which was stupid. There was no reason for that. It's Deadpool. He needs his guns, yet you couldn't even take the guns out of the holsters, and it was kind of ridiculous. So you had his swords and that kind of stuff, and you had the accessories with the extra hands and everything, but he needs his guns. Point blank, Deadpool needs his guns, and that previous figure did not have the ability to do that. This one, of course, does. I think that makes this one definitely the one that if you're going to upgrade just one of these, it's definitely the figure to do. Both of these figures are great. I like both of them quite a bit. I did not get the previous iterations of either of these figures, so for me, of course, it's worth picking up now. I am getting slightly better head sculpts for this one here. I'm getting guns in a brighter red for this one here. They are good figures, so if you don't have these at all, absolutely it makes sense to pick these guys up. And as I say, even if you do already have the previous figures, there are some reasons why you might want to go ahead and grab these two. Now, one thing I do want to point out is When it comes to these two action figures, you can see, at least as far as I'm concerned, that Deadpool is considerably shorter than he should be, especially compared to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. In real life, I do believe Ryan Reynolds is taller, although only by an inch or so, but he is taller than Hugh Jackman, and this Deadpool figure is a little bit small in scale compared to this Wolverine figure. Now, for some quick comparisons here, we have him with an assortment of live action figures here, because of course, for display purposes, that's probably where you would fit these two guys in. So of course, up front, next to Magneto and the original old school Nightcrawler from X-Men 2. Then at the back, of course, we've got Cable from Deadpool 2. We've got the Iron Man Mark, whatever that one is, and of course, Thor. You can kind of see where these guys fit in. Both of them are actually a little bit taller than Cable and Nightcrawler and Magneto, but of course are shorter than Thor and Iron Man, which I think works really well. It puts them right at about where you would expect them. Thor and Iron Man should be taller than just about everybody else. That makes sense, but this kind of gives you an idea of how they're going to look in a live action display. So in the end, we have to ask the question, is it worth it? And of course, if you never bought the original releases of these figures, it's absolutely worth it. That's what I did, so of course, it's absolutely worth it to me. However, if you do have the previous releases, I would say that Deadpool is probably enough of an upgrade now that he can actually have his guns in hand and he can holster them, and the brighter red, that one is definitely one that probably is worth upgrading. The Wolverine, on the other hand, while I do like the head sculpts better, the other one came with better paint and better accessories, and honestly, if I had that one, I probably wouldn't have upgraded. So really, in the end, it just kind of depends on where you're at in your collection in the first place as far as whether or not these are worth picking up. But of course, look, the new movie's coming out, and this is definitely something a lot of people are excited about. These two figures are finally starting to actually show up at places, whether it be online or in stores, Amazon, Entertainment Earth, BBTS, things like that. Whereas for the first month or so that these were released, you really couldn't find them anywhere unless you had pre-ordered them. Now, I think they're a little bit more available and might actually be worth picking up for your collection, but ultimately, that's going to be up to you. So that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of these two figures, and always remember to enjoy your collection.